going to see where he changed it to 5. And I don't know how he did that on the system. He must have had the other one already written before he came out. There's the 2 orders. It says protective order. It says chapter 598 protective order. I'm not a 708 attempted murderer, assaulter, batterer. I'm not a 709 child rapist, pedophile, sex crime. I'm just a guy getting divorced. And he put a provision in there for me not to see my children. Then my wife called my brother and said, "I don't know what the hell's going on with this judge." Well, I filed from jail a motion to set aside the order, and for me and my wife, for calmer heads to prevail, we'll just do whatever we want to do. We're the civil litigants. We'll withdraw this order. You'll withdraw your petition upon agreed upon conditions, and that's how we're going to handle this and get away from this guy. He goes in. Go watch this. He goes in on September 2nd. I file that in this case. On September 7th, he's already in there writing some vicious, horrible lawyer. He cut off Heather. Wouldn't let her participate in the case because he wanted to hurt me. Now, here's the thing. In 2014 and 2018, James Ellison and Jessica Reynolds did the same exact thing to an Ames couple. And the woman was a government worker. She had a relationship with the governor and Jessica. Well, it got so bad in that case that the woman said, "Oh, heck with this," and she joined hands with her husband, and they went to see Trey Catelli, and they went to see whoever was at the Judicial Qualifications Commission, and it took them a year even to get it worked out. And Ellison was put on a ballot. I remember voting for him in 2018. It was a horrific story that I read about, and now it's happening to me and Heather again. But there's one difference. Miss Sarah Julie Rotham. They're not going to let her out. They're not going to let her do anything. They're not going to let me see those kids. They're not going to let a guardian ad litem actually do anything. They're not going to allow evidence. They're not going to allow witnesses. They're not going to allow subpoenas. Every single one of these judges has received from me an affidavit and a Rule 51-215 report of professional misconduct. Each and every one of these men and women are material witnesses. They are material witnesses of fact. If you look on this case, there's another case, DACV 05. It's where I sued James Ellison. I sued him. I've been in jail. Have you read any of the pleadings? Are you kidding me? Have you read any of the pleadings? Motions to change venue, motions to dismiss. Huh? No, I'm not saying that. We know you probably. No, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. I'm not. You guys do what you want. You take my parental rights away again. I'm just gonna start suing people. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. I'm a lawyer, for crying out loud. I'm a Christian. I'm a good person. I'm a good person. Huh? No. I don't have a way to make that happen. I live with my father. I'm saying the timing is not going to work. I'm not going to meet with you before a hearing on the 21st when you don't have the evidence, you don't have the witnesses, you don't have anything else. Don't think that for a second that I'm going to participate in getting thrown in jail again and in my own demise. I'm not going to do that. What's happened to me is criminal beyond, it's conscience shocking what has happened to me. And that you would participate in it and not entertain any of it as an attorney. Ling called me up the other day and said she's going to be my attorney, harassing me. You know that she's fired as an attorney. You know her duty is to withdraw. You know that you need to have evidence and witnesses and subpoenas in a case. You know that my children are witnesses. Nicole Fascio is a material witness, and the court has known this for 3 years. Because when you're in a civil case, a judge cannot sit in the seat of government can't sit in the seat of the judge, and the government can't sit in the seat of the civil plaintiff. Nicole Fascio, Nicole Fascio, Nicole Fascio, Nicole Fascio. All right. Well, that's okay. I'm recording this on video and audio too. I'm looking at myself on the camera right now, so that's fine. That's fine. I can. You shouldn't be doing people this way, especially if you're from this part of the state. I am not a criminal. It doesn't work for me. That time frame doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. You can't call me 3 days before a trial. You can't call me 2 days before the trial. 2 days, but next Wednesday is 2 days. 2 days before the trial. Are you insane? Are you insane, ma'am? Are you insane, madam? That's not the law. That's not the law. That's not the law. That's not anything. Well, I can't. It's not about one. It's not about one. It's not about anything I want. I don't get anything I want. Look at the record. I don't get anything I want, anything I pre for. Someone calls up and asks for a continuance. Nicole Foster just asked for a continuance. There was no hearing, there was no trial, there was no nothing. That's insane. She's a judge now. She's a magistrate in the sixth judicial district. They're like, talk to Ling. She's like, talk to Ling. She's like, talk to Ling, talk to Ling. She's telling me to talk to Ling Haro. It's like they're working together. Oh, well, let's make sure we get him into court that day, and we're going to take his rights away, and we're going to get him upset, and maybe get him in contempt and throw him in the jail. Or who knows what these people are doing? Oh, I'll come. I want to do an interview. I want to do an interview. I want to do an interview. How's Wednesday sound next week? 48 hours before the trial. He's like, so what I'm hearing you say is you don't want to do this. You can't be the guardian ad litem of both of my children. You cannot be the guardian ad litem of both of my children. It's not the law. I get to interview you. I get to represent myself. I get to. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I can't believe this. This is like seriously. This is like the thing I was telling you about, the Ephesians 6:12. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but powers and principalities and high places and wicked people, and Satan is always influencing people to do wicked things. She's asking me, did you ever do anything to modify this order? Did you ever do anything to modify this order of protection? Or is she talking about like divorce? Maybe the divorce thing? Everything is invalid. There's nothing that's valid. There's no subject matter jurisdiction for any of it. Not the divorce, not the property settlement. You watch the other videos. I mean, it's insane. They're scared. The governor is scared. Sue Christensen is scared. I've got him scared. I don't want to attack all of them. I just want Judge James Ellison Tiffany Meredith, Nicole Fascio. I don't care about anybody else. I can't believe this is happening. I just still can't believe it. You know, they like pressure you. Like you can tell they have experience with this. Like they've done it wrong before. I'm getting shaky now. They hurt you, and then you're trying to get out of jail, and you're trying to get back on your feet, and you're trying to fix all the false and fraud and fraudulent stuff, and then they go after your kids, and they want you to fight. I want to fight too. I want to fight with you, but there's no way in hell. There is no way in hell I could sit in front of another human being doing that to me in a courtroom. I can't do it on the phone. I can't let it happen on the phone. Could you imagine what I would do? And yes, they can. They can imagine. That's what they've got to imagine. Let's get him in here. Let's wind him up, and let's make sure we put him into jail for something. That's all that's happening here right now. With these women calling, leaning hard. Oh, I'm still your attorney. The judge said I'm still your attorney. You can't fire me. Oh, I'm going to interview you. I'm going to interview you. I'm going to interview you on Wednesday for the trial. No evidence. No evidence. Same thing. Same story. No evidence. Printed in 4 copies. No witnesses. No anything. Nicole Fascio is going to show up. Nicole Fascio is a material witness. She has intimate knowledge about some of the biggest facts that are in dispute. When the government sits in the seat of the judge and the government sits in the seat of the civil plaintiff and they work a harm, that's of course illegal. It's unconstitutional, right? It's unconstitutional. It's illegal. Extremely. I mean, it's all in one instant second. It is actual bias, actual prejudice, professional misconduct, court, and crime. Pick them all. So, but Nicole Fascio is the attorney of record in Nicole Fascio is the attorney of record in all the cases, all the civil cases. So the government can't do what they did if an honest attorney, Nicole Fascio, who's also Heather's boss's fraternity, and Heather and her boss, you know about all that, the individually and then the group sex thing at ISU, and it's a nightmare. And it's like it's not even. It's like it's the subject of 2 cases. Our cases, Star Rouse, and then Shirtcliffe versus ISU, Carl Weems, and Monica Marcy of ISU. Like they all were judges in both of those cases, and they've got all the same facts working. Um, and they're not sending me to Iowa City from Ames. They should have done that in the Shirtcliffe case too. They should have transferred her case, and they didn't. So maybe this ISU sex thing, group sex thing, is like maybe it involves like more than what we know. You know, um, I don't know, but so Nicole Fascio is the attorney of record. So if the county attorney, if the governor or Sue Christensen or Jessica Reynolds or maybe just James Ellison. Maybe at the very beginning, James Ellison didn't have any help. He was just he was the maniac all by himself, like he was last time. Um, Commands the Story County Attorney's Office to represent Heather. Well, if you're Nicole Fascio and you're a good attorney, an honest attorney, and you see that happening in a civil case that you're the registered attorney on, you you've got a duty to say no. You can't you can't do that. What are you doing? You can't do that. First, you're representing a civil litigant. Secondly, you guys are not even following any law. You're just doing whatever the hell you want to do. And you're on day one, you're keeping him from his children. On day one, you're keeping him from his children. So I think it's probably the case that this is a big one. Whether they were commanders or not, they're consenters now. Sue Christensen and Governor Reynolds and Jessica Reynolds and anyone who's had anything to do with this case, Starr and Rouse, and then the other one, which no one will tell us, no one will give us the information on that old case. I know it happened because I read about it in the papers, and I ended up voting for Ellison, who was on the ballot in 2018. In Iowa, we appoint all of our judges. We don't elect them. If we elected judges, the narcissistic borderline Enneagram 8 personalities, we could probably just elect around them if we had elections. But anymore, that's all we elect. And they do horrible things. They're hired by the governor, they're hired by the chief justice. They're protected by both of them because who wants to be known as the governor or the chief justice who picked the sociopath who's trying to like kill men? This is just I've never seen anything like this. This is satanic. This is not of this. God is absent. Truth God is absent from these people. They are not. How could you do this to someone? And all they have. I'm a lawyer for crying. I'm a doctor of law. I'm a good person. I'm a truthful person. I'm an honest person. I try to stand up for right and justice and truth all the time, even if it might hurt me, but help someone else. I stand up. I stand up to the governor. I stand up to a lot of people. Um, and here's that there's no way that under the circumstances of there being that other trial where I didn't have an attorney, that attorney wasn't there, I wasn't there, the children didn't have a guardian ad litem, those attorneys weren't there, the children weren't there. Nicole Fascio was geared up to be the Nicole Fascio was geared up to be the I think my instinct I can discern not know the exact, depending on how bad, how involved the truth is and how many things are connected, any gears and wires and pulleys. I mean, I'm not going to have all of that right away. You're going to have to learn that. But I know those things that are of truth God. I know it. I always have. This is not, this is evil. This is evil. And those women, Lane and Sarah Dooley Rothman, were like, it's like were, well, if he does this, say this. If he does that, say this. Don't let him get out of the trial. Don't do the, you know what I mean? There's like, And she's telling me about, oh, let's do this. And I'm the one who called you, lady. You didn't call me. She probably was never gonna call me. They were just gonna go on, and you don't have to tell him nothing. Yeah, you just get him here on Friday, boy. We're gonna put that boy in jail. We're gonna send him to prison for something. I'm scared to death. I am scared to death to mess with these people. I have done a lot of time in jail. I just told you I've done more time than Jack Ruby. Jack Ruby got out of jail. I don't know if I said this. Maybe in another video. I hope I'm not repeating myself. Jack Ruby got out of jail because a jailer named Al Stevenson told uh, told the sheriff, or I don't know who he told. Maybe like an FBI agent, I think. Anyway, he had been listening to Jack Ruby's conversations with two lawyers and a rabbi. And when the government found out about it, when the FBI agent found out about it and reported it, I mean, they just filed a motion, attached the affidavit, said, "Yeah, I did this," and they dismissed his case. He shot Lee Harvey Oswald in the stomach on national TV, and they just threw it out because of actual bias and actual prejudice. The same thing happened to me with Michael Kennedy. As I've talked about before, Michael Kennedy was my principal abuser in jail. He was recording all my conversations. I'm an attorney. I have a privilege. Jessica Dooley is an attorney. She has a privilege. James Hunt is an attorney. He has a privilege. My attorney, my pastor, Todd Jenks, is an attorney. He has a privilege. All of my conversations were privileged, and they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me sign the sheet. They wouldn't let me sign the sheet. Kennedy was just like, no, you can't sign this. You represent yourself. I mean, the privilege is mine. So anyway, we started on the phone. We started giving everybody privileges. We started cross privileging, so they were all recorded. And I wasn't talking about anything about, like, I wasn't crying over my wife. Oh, my poor wife, I'm so sad. She's been lying to me her whole life. Lying to me about paternity of our kid. We still don't have a paternity test in this case. 5 years. Pled 10 times. Why don't you think they give me a paternity test? Well, the paternity test is covered by Story County Attorney's Office. They handle all that. They represent my wife. Hey, these fines and fees don't belong. I should only have $2,000 in total fees, not 52,000. Please, please make this reflect the law and reality. Never gets done. Never gets answered. Nothing. You know why? Story County Attorney's Office. They handle that. They also represent my wife. What else? Oh, public record for charges and convictions of violating a protective order. It's called a protective order. It's really a protective order. It's not a no contact order. And I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but in Iowa, it's a pretty big deal. It means everything. The protective order is civil, comes out of divorce, get it out of the house during the period of divorce. It's not supposed to be used as some weapon to hammer somebody. James Ellison isn't supposed to use it as a, everything's a no contact order around here. I take the civil and I make it criminal. Who knows what he does? That's basically what he did. I mean, from the terms and conditions point of view. Now, in the law and in the code and all the paperwork, it's all civil, 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 civil. It's completely civil. Anyone who looks at it should know it. Certainly, all the judges who have worked on my cases should know that. And if they see the Story County Attorney's Office representing her, they should shut that down. Um, especially when it just happened there. 2014 to 2018, with James Ellison and Jessica Reynolds, it just happened there. But Jessica Reynolds and Governor Reynolds treat Story County and Ames like it's their own little fiefdom or something. It's just it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Jessica Reynolds is responsible for taking away my law license. She was on the Judicial District 2B committee that does attorney discipline. And Ellison, during a trial, called and emailed, because I have the email, Crystal Rink, who worked at the Attorney Disciplinary Board, vice chair of the Attorney Disciplinary Board. She used to be an assistant attorney here, assistant Story County attorney. So he sends it to her, and then Crystal and Jessica, who worked together before, decide to have a hearing to take my license. And I don't know, I don't even know what's happened to it. They never called back and said, "Here you go, you can have it back." They suspended it, I guess, indefinitely. I don't know. They literally called the Office of Professional Regulation in Arkansas, and they called me back right away and were like, "What in the hell is going on in Iowa, Star?" And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm in jail so much I don't know anything. I'm writing writs for certiorari, complicated legal pleadings by pencil on the jailhouse floor, and I'm sending them off to be filed, and they're not being filed. I don't know what they did with them. They just like ran them through the printer and like scanned them and sent them to the Story County attorney and Tiffany Meredith, and then gave it back to me. But a lot of things that I would write never got filed. Man, I'm so wound up by that woman. Well, you need to talk to your attorney. The trial's gonna happen on the 21st, and this, that, and the other, and it just, for a guardian ad litem to be addressing me like that, and what's gonna happen, and how it's gonna happen, and who's it gonna happen, that's not that's not normal. That's what I'm telling you earlier about discernment. That's the truth. The truth God isn't in her. She's up to no good. And I can feel it with every fiber of my body. Up to no good. I didn't really think that attorneys like this even existed. You hear things like in Arkansas, everyone is so polite and they know the rules of professional responsibility and they take care of each other and they help each other when they make mistakes. And, that whole thing, that whole idea that a judge can do anything in the interest of justice is true. They're the only people in our society who can make an accident, a negligent error, or an intentional error and fix it. Sorry, I'm going to call this back. We're going to redo this. We're going to start over because I made a mistake and I'm going to fix it. You're going to have a trial. Oh, do you want me to come? I can come to you on Wednesday. I called you to talk to you about fraud of the court on you. I control the scope of the conversation. I'm calling you. I'm telling you what I want to talk about. When I start talking about fraud, she stopped me. She stopped me. She didn't want to hear it. That's her. That's Ling Harl's command. That's her command. That's everyone's command. Get him to court. Don't pay attention to anything. Um, get him to court. We're going to take his rights away, and we're going to hurt him. I can't believe that. I don't think I can show up at this thing. I don't have to. I know that, but it's still like it's my baby, and I want to fight. But I'm being trapped right now. My goodness and my love for truth and my love for justice and fairness and impartiality is trapping me in this sick personal preference protocol nightmare. It just won't end. When I told her about the governor and I told her about whistleblowing, she got real dismissive. Like a seventh grade girl hearing the truth about something and dismissing it out of not reason. It's never reason with the. Sometimes it's reason with the boys. It's never reason with the girls. But like it's almost like sometimes wanton is like a motivationalist. There's no motivation to cause the harm. There's just there's just a desire to harm somebody. And here's what we're doing today. We're harming people today. We're on the harm team. We're gonna harm some people. And I was trying to show her the things which would excuse my absence, all the wrongdoing of these judges and all the wrongful jail time and all of this, that, and the other. And you can't call her, you can't do whatever, or we'll put you in jail. She's like she doesn't even know that like I was put in jail once for sending my kids a necklace, dog tags for their birthday, saying saying Romans 8:28. I quoted Romans 8:28 right from the Bible. Quoted Romans 8:28. And Tiffany Meredith, the government lawyer who's representing my wife in civil cases, actually started to analyze the content of my speech, my religious speech, my free speech that's protected. And they somehow said it was threatening. It's not threatening. They were just wanting to put me in jail so I could not sue anyone or complain or talk to journalists or do whatever. And they did. They put me in jail. Put me in jail for 6 months for that. I'm not kidding. No, 9 months. 9 months for that. 9 months. Um, I can't even think of I can't think of the stuff that I got put in jail for because there was no there. There was no reason, law. There was nothing. There was just them concluding jail and how to get wound up. And why the hell did I get put in jail those times? I can't even think. I can't even think right now about them. I'm so worked up. That's awful. Well, they say that happens. Those memory type of problems happen with like people under a lot of stress. Like you forget real important things, like your brother's name or something, or why you were put in jail for 6 months. Yeah, I just know the I don't know. I'm just really nervous. I kind of feel like just like laying down right now and like in the fetal position and just collecting myself because I just can't take this. I just can't believe the things that she said and how she argued back with me and like she wasn't listening to my what I was telling her about what's going on in my case. I'm expecting to find a woman who's an actual guardian ad litem, but she's clearly knowledgeable. She's clearly in on it. I don't know that Julia Stegard is. She was dismissed or something on the 4th of August. I didn't know anything about it. Never got noticed, never got anything. I only knew about it because I was on the system and looking at stuff. And and then you find out that she's only a single guardian ad litem, and the rule is for two guardian ad litems. She's a magistrate in the 6th Judicial District, in my judicial district. Why is she even a guardian ad litem if she's a judge? Like, that doesn't, you know, maybe she's strategically placed. Like, look, to the extent we were going to lie and have Julius Degarda, we're going to have someone tougher than that. So we're going to have a judge. We're going to have someone who can control Star or shut down all of his claims of evidence. And I don't know. It's heartbreaking. It's so tired. Miss my children so bad. They need me so badly. I know it. But I'm sure they're being lied to about where I am. This is all to protect a judge. And it's all to protect those people who did come around and consent and ratify and started taking over. I guess that's what one thing you want to do if you want to ensure that your corruption, that you benefit from your wrongdoing for Ellison is to involve as many high people as possible. And so it's like, if I go down, you go down, like that type of thing or something. But like I said, I don't give a rip about anybody except for Ellison, Tiffany Meredith, and Nicole Fascio. Those are the three lawyers in Iowa. None of this happens without them. They are like the 99.9% leaders in every category of the personal preference protocol. And there's a lot. There's a lot of people. There's 182 individual instances of professional misconduct, tort, or crime in this case. And there's 42 people who have acted as commanders, actors, consenters, or ratifiers. And so that increases even more when you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in each episode. And that's not even counting the last year with the parental rights stuff and all this stuff. That's not even doesn't even touch it. I know that she knows like my cousins. I sent her an email about, I want to talk to you about this fraud, and then like they're like resisting it. All of these people are material witnesses now, and that's just the way it works. Um, when you get in a situation like this where people are filing um, motions and pleadings and exhibits, and they're being ignored by judges, and they're being ignored by the civil party, and everyone's just ignoring. They don't answer anything. Over time, when these things are continuing to be ignored for years and years, and there's no disposition, there's no orders, there's no one pays attention to any of the motions that I file. No one answers anything. When that happens, um, that evidence in affidavit form becomes former testimony. All your pleadings and exhibits are party admissions. And if the judge or judges never do anything, they become judicial admissions, and they're like the law of the case, basically. I mean, when you sue someone for fraud or you sue someone in tort for anything, and you show that, um, there's nothing to do. It's Travis said, here's the fact, here's the evidence that supports it. Here's the fact. Here's the evidence that supports it. Here's the fact. Here's the evidence that supports it. Here's the fact. Here's the evidence that supports it. Here's the prayer for relief. I need an order that does this, A, B, C, D. That happens. That happens. That gets to happen at some point when you sue them. I mean, they make you sue them, and they make you go all around all this rigmarole to do it. But I can't participate in this anymore with what I know and what I've pled and what the truth is. I've got to have some sort of backbone, some sort of, well, this is the truth. This is how the law works. This is how the law does not work. Here is intentional injury and harm. Here is yielding to truth. You yield to truth, and you don't participate in all the. I mean, think about that. I participated. Well, I guess I didn't. I left, didn't I? I did. I left that other hearing when I didn't have an attorney, and my kids didn't have an attorney, and they weren't going to make. My kids weren't there, or no evidence, or whatever. What did I do? I left. I left. And I think that's what you got to do in this case too. I just don't think you can go. I think it's an awful snare to lay. Uh, I'm always thinking about faith and trust. You know, I'm a fearful person. I'm a worrier and all that. Um, you gotta have faith in God. I'm not going to do anything in these cases. I'm of my own power. I am nothing. I have proven that over and over again. I can do what little bit I can to preserve records and to preserve truth for a later day, for a later day, for a later day. Because at the end of the day, with all of these shenanigans, preventing witnesses, preventing evidence, preventing truth, um, I'm kind of I'm being denied access to the courts, or at least access to a legitimate court, a court that has subject matter jurisdiction, a court where I could get some subject matter jurisdiction. I need to go get the phone record now. I'm sure it's going to show up in some kind of report somewhere where, well, I told him, you know, because she's a judge, so she's got to be mean and domineering. I told him I'd come over there for a thingamabob. I'd come over there on the 48 hours before trial. I, I come over there to do an interview in good faith, you know, in good faith, because I'm a truth seeker and I'm a truth yielder. And I'll go over there and interview you 5-10 minutes, 48 hours before a trial.
that I live an hour away from and shouldn't even be going to because it's an hour away. And you kind of think of it though. I'm doing pretty good right now, but my back is out. I can hardly walk. Um, I just went to the doctor this morning. Anyway, I gotta get off of here. I haven't made one of these for a long time. I haven't made one of these for a long time, so I'm rambling, I know, but two guardians ad litem representing both of my children, and I have fired my attorney publicly. I terminated her in writing. It's not something you file a motion for. I'm not asking you to fire my attorney who's trying to tank my case. I am telling you you're fired. I'm doing it in front of everybody. And the motion is for common sense continuance of these other matters. So, and she's a judge, right? She doesn't recognize that. She doesn't go, "Oh yeah, that's the law. Absolutely that's the law." But for a lawyer, I'm a lawyer. I'm a judge. Yeah, it's your statutory right to terminate anybody, and then it's their duty to file a motion to withdraw. That's how we do lawyering. When we're and when we file a filing on the case in civil case, we say, Nicole Fascio is the attorney of record for the divorce and for the civil restraint and for the parental rights. You call me for everything. I am the attorney. How does the government substitute in for you? Well, Rule 32-116, withdrawals and substitutions, which also covers Ling Harl. Ling Harl covers Ling Harl, covers Nicole Fascio. How 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 does that how does that work? How does that work? That's how you substitute. That's the only way to substitute in the world for judges or in America. Every state. It's the only way. That's how you do it. It's the only rule. Sometimes they make it into another statute, but mostly not. It just stays right where it is. The rule of substitution and withdrawal and termination. All the above. That's how you flip-flop attorneys. They couldn't do that because we have a constitution at Article 3, Section 2 that says, as we've been writing this constitution, it occurs to us it would be extremely unfair to ever allow the government to sit in the seat of the judge and the government to sit in the seat of the civil plaintiff and represent the civil plaintiff. We should not allow that. We should separate those powers always and never let someone nearly get killed in jail by an insulin overdose because a judge is scared he's going to get in trouble at work. They're scared. The narcissistic, borderline personalities who are Enneagram 8s are all scared that people will think less of them and it will harm their reputation. Therefore, take every right that Travis Starr has from him, and if he's in your grasp one more time, put him in the jail, and we're going to actually kill him this time. That's my life. It's like Paul. It's like Paul. It's like the Apostle Paul and Nero. It's like I can't get away from these people. I can't change venue. I can't dismiss a case. I can't modify this. I can't modify that. Um, she was asking me about. She was asking me about. She was asking me about. Did you ever try to modify the divorce agreement? And I'm like, have you ever read anything? I've been trying to dismiss it and throw it out because it's void and invalid. It was entered under duress. My wife was withholding my property. and I was in the custody of the state. That is the definition of ancient Roman duress, withholding property in the custody of the state. Those people do not get to contract. You do not do any formal contracting with them. We're just not going to do it. They're going to be taken advantage of. We're not going to do it. Don't do it. In America, you just have to have one or the other. I had both. I had both. And I was up all night writing to Nicole Facio and my wife and saying, I don't like this, change this, change that. I have all of that data. I have all of that data. And they came in, they made me travel to Ames from custody. I didn't have any way to get there. We get there, and she's like, "Here, just sign this." And I'm like, This is the exact. You haven't changed anything. You didn't change a single thing." And we get ready to go in the courtroom. I wouldn't sign it. I did not sign it. And she goes in the courtroom, and the guard there does not let me go in. You know, where you're supposed to go in and say, "Hey, is this your intention? Is this what you want? Is this fair? 0% to 100%?" Wouldn't let me in. She comes back out and she goes, "Sign this. You have to sign this." And I signed it. And I told her right when I got done signing, she knew I was going to write something. So she yanked it out of my hand. And I said, "That thing's not any good. That thing's not any good." And same thing, went back in. I couldn't go in. I'm not kidding you. I did not go. I was never in front of a judge. There's not going to be any tape. There's not going to be any video. It doesn't exist. They didn't ask me, "Mr. Starr, is 0% to 100% your your wish?" And they had some provision in there where I had to go meet with somebody like from the state. And I was living in Tama, and they didn't have anybody. They didn't have anybody to do this thing that they wanted to do. Like they didn't have anybody. And I didn't dare call Heather because I'd get thrown in jail. Anyway, I gotta quit talking about it. This stuff is just driving me nuts. Have you done anything to modify it? Yeah, I have. I'm a lawyer. I've filed I don't know, 25 different motions pertaining to that order. I would say that's something. That's doing something. Yeah. Um, Dismissing the divorce entirely, orders on how to get rid of that order, the property distribution order. I mean, I've done that. I mean, I'd have to go back and count. Like, it's like everything I do, that's part of it. Everything I do, that's part of the order. It's my property, and my property being turned over, and that agreement, which is not an agreement, it's a contract under duress. As a matter of law, there's no argument, there's no anything. You have to look at my my motion to turn over, two of them before that day, and the state records on who I was in the custody of. That's it. There's no, and that's the thing with these fraud, crime and falsity, false pretenses, extortion, requiring what is not due, requiring it before it is due. Judges just kind of doing what they want, and extorting from you different fines and fees and jail when none of it's legitimate. Um, yeah, I gotta recalibrate here. Yeah, yeah, that's all you do with these types of crimes. Fraud, it's not, you don't write something down and wait for it. Doesn't get interpreted. It doesn't get interpreted by a judge. When I put on my evidence, when I put on my witnesses, when I put on my evidence through my witnesses, which they won't give me any of it, it's just a matter of fact. It's just a matter of operative fact. Did you ignore truth? Did you ignore rights? Did you ignore your duty to protect rights? Did you ignore law? Did you ignore the operative facts that give rise to the law? Did you assert your own personal preference prompted by your own private desire? Did you set out trying to injure Starr and actually injure him? Are you now concealing harm and suppressing truth of intentional injury? Is that where all this, all the more crime is coming from? The conceal part and the suppress part? The answer is yes. There's nothing to argue or interpret. It's just fact, truth, 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 truth. And you yield to it. Or you get Travis to come to court, don't allow any evidence, don't allow any witnesses. They never have. There's never been anything, I've never been allowed witnesses or evidence in any case. And they've known about it. I've filed witness lists and exhibit lists. They don't, they will not allow it. And they won't let me out of their jurisdiction because it's done for them. It's done for them. There's literally nothing that Sparks and uh Sparks, yeah, that should probably be one of them. Ashley Sparks, Judge. I don't have anything against Hunter Thorpe. He's a young guy. He was obviously told to do what he did that day in that courtroom with no Star, no attorney for Star, no Star children, no attorneys for Star children. Have a uh, 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 hearing in his absence, and then take away his parental rights for life. No, that doesn't happen anywhere on earth. That doesn't happen in any government. That doesn't happen in the United States. That doesn't happen anywhere. That's never happened, probably. That's insane. It's insane. And then and then after that, all that happens, then all of a sudden there's an appeal that comes out of nowhere, which I don't even think I filed. And now we're going to have a new trial instead of just reversing it. I just told you the Jack Ruby story. Jailer comes forward and says, I I I listened to his privileged speech, which has happened in my case. Mike Kennedy testified to it. That's happened in my case. Mike Kennedy is dead, by the way. He committed suicide on the 9th of June of 2024. On the 6th of June 2024, he came into my jail cell and he said, "I'm sorry for everything I ever did to you. Um, whatever they say about you, Star, you're all right in my book." A couple days later, he killed himself. A week, maybe, after that, they overdosed me with insulin. And that might have been an accident, but what happened next was not an accident. We had an emergency hospital across the street, across the highway, 300 yards, and another emergency clinic behind us, 75 yards. They didn't take me. They didn't take me to the doctor. They separated me from the rest of the men, threw me up front, threw me in a cell, turned the light off for 48 hours, and there I sat in an insulin coma for 48 hours. I could have died. They have protocols for insulin. Everyone has protocols for insulin nowadays because that's what a lot of people die from that. This goes back all the way to the 70s and 80s. So, yeah, they don't, that's not what they were supposed to be doing. And so that's kind of, I got that. That's sickening. I mean, think about that. Having to wonder, oh, did they really try to murder me? Like, if you're having that thought, do you know how ridiculous that is in America for a 49-year-old man, doctor of law, Christian, to be thinking like, oh, maybe they really didn't try to murder me. Just like I'm here. Well, should I go to this trial? Should I show up and say thanks for all the truth yielding? There's no truth yielding. There's only truth controlling with these people. And I don't know that I can be a part of that. For the simple reason too, I still have post-traumatic stress syndrome. So I could die. I could die. I could have a heart attack. I've had a heart attack in that building. When I was suing Judge Ellison in person with paperwork, I had a heart attack. Yeah, the paramedics came, took me to the hospital. The one that they didn't take me to when I was in jail. Yeah, I've got bad PTSD, PTSS, and they know about it. And every time I get in those courtroom situations, it's like they say the stupidest, erroneous, false intentionally injurious things that violate the rules of professional responsibility, and they're just winding me up. All right, I gotta get off of here. I'm way too nervous. Couldn't have been drinking all this coffee. So that's how it went with the guardian ad litem, who's the 6th Judicial District Magistrate judge. She twisted my words and said, "Are you?" So I called her to tell her about fraud in the case. I called her to tell her about fraud in the case and whether or not she's involved knowingly or unknowingly. Turns out she played her cards right away. She's witting. She's witting. She understands what's going on, and she's been contacted, no doubt, because she is who she is in relation to someone who's commanding her. Whether it's Ellefson, whether it's Stephen Owen, whether it's Sue Christensen, she's picked because she's a judge and she's domineering. And instead of being a guardian ad litem and being interviewing and worrying about my life and what's going on in my case to find out what my interests are so that she can compare them uh, favorably or disfavorably to my children's, she's not interested in doing that at all. She's just interested in putting me in my place and making sure I'm in that courtroom. That's her job. You get him in that courtroom. You don't, you don't, you don't, you don't, you don't listen to any of his desires to disqualify you. So, all right, guys, we'll see you.